Jesus had a lot to say about God when he was on the earth. He taught about him, prayed to him, and even called out to him while on the cross. But was the language Jesus speaking mean he was actually saying Allah in those moments? Are Christians and Muslims actually both calling to Allah when we say God? And what does Muhammad's encounter with an angel or a fallen angel have to do with all of this? Let's look into it. There's a clip from a podcast that Muslims around the world are now using to say that Jesus was actually praying and calling on Allah when he mentioned God.
Most Christians don't even know that Jesus spoke Aramaic. Language of Jesus Christ. Do it right now on Google. So what was the language? There it pops up. Now, here's what I want you to do. Let me blow everybody's mind now.
Aramaic.
Aramaic. Now, I want you to type this in. Aramaic, word for God, and watch what pops up.
Aloho.
Where's the search result coming from in blue?
Allah.
Oh, Jesus Christ in his own language called God Ilah. Ilah, Allah.
Here's a clip with Sam Shamoun, a Christian apologist and teacher, where a Muslim tries to use this theory against him. But Sam, who actually understands these languages from growing up in the Middle East, proves this is a false concept.
What language did Jesus speak?
Aramaic.
How do you say God in Aramaic?
You don't say Allah, you say Allah. Because now let me educate you. Before you can I educate you? Hold on.
Oh, wait.
Aramaic, Allah is not Allah. Allah in Aramaic corresponds to Ilah. Allah is made of two words. In Aramaic, when you want to make God definite, you say Allah. Allah.
Even if part of the root of the word Allah does mean God, this does not mean that Jesus was praying to Allah when he was referencing God, or that Christians and Muslims serve the same God. The main point being that Muslims reject Jesus as being one with God, and they reject that he's the Son of God. 600 years before Muhammad had his angel encounter that started giving him the revelations to write the Quran, Jesus in his own words told us this: I and my Father are one. An extremely important point to mention that I've mentioned multiple times, but it's crucial to this Muslim-Christian discussion, is that the Quran says in 13 or more verses that God has no son. Here's just one verse for reference. The Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, and the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. That is their statement from their mouths. They imitate the sayings of those who disbelieved before them. May Allah destroy them. How are they deluded? 600 years prior to that Quran verse, 1 John 2:22 tells us, Who is a liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? He is Antichrist who denies the Father and the Son. The idea that's rising up here is that Christians and Muslims follow the same God, and we have a lot in common and should unite together.
Every Friday inside this historic church, there's a call to prayer answered by hundreds of Muslims surrounded by Christian icons. Two religions sharing the same space.
It's our job to be the hands and feet of peace in the world, and how do we do that? Is by loving one another.
I don't know if they ever thought that Muslims would come here and pray and become one of the biggest congregations of Church of Epiphany.
So your congregation is much larger than the church's congregation?
Yes. This is the biggest congregation that Church of Epiphany has, the Muslim prayers.
But literally the most important part of the Christian faith is believing that Jesus is the Son of God and one with God. This is the part we don't agree on, and it's the most important part. Jesus told us again around 600 years before the Quran was written. These are the exact words of Jesus, not some revelation from an angel to Muhammad. Jesus tells us, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. So we can see that our kingdoms or our beliefs are not united in the most crucial part of understanding salvation and unity with God. Muhammad received his revelation to create the Quran from an angel encounter. I'll show how this is a demonic revelation, an encounter with a fallen angel or a demonic apparition. But here's the story first.
In a cave above Mecca, Muhammad had an experience that would be the defining moment of his life. an angel was said to appear before him in the form of a man, instructing him to recite in the name of God the Almighty. For Muhammad, it was an encounter as profound as it was deeply disturbing. The months to come would bring more revelations. Above all, Muhammad was to bear one message to his people, a simple yet radical proclamation, that there is only one God.
Here's the biblical proof that was a demonic fallen encounter that Muhammad had, and that the true living God foresaw that this teaching of listening to false angel revelations over the Bible would happen and warned us to never trust them. But even if we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel to you than what we have preached to you, let him be accursed. Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, and Muhammad's encounter with a fallen angel of some sort to give him revelation about the Quran and opposing the truth of the Bible, we can know is demonic. Bible prophecy tells us that in the last days demonic teachings would increase. Now the Spirit expressly says that in latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. Muslims and Christians do share a lot of similar beliefs. This is because for thousands of years before Muhammad, the Old Testament stories were going around the Middle East. For over 600 years, the New Testament stories were circulating there,
where they would realize they have much more in common than they don't, and that they're being perpetrated against each other. Muslims and Christians and Jews are brothers, they're cousins. The fact that they fight each other is a disgrace. You cannot fight a Christian or fight a Jew and call yourself a Jew, a Muslim, or a Christian. You're neither. And if this group of people could just figure this out already, that's half the world, brother.
Muhammad had a demonic or fallen angel encounter, started creating a religion, then stole much of the similar stories circulating in the Middle East and added them to his new created God, Allah, and his own storyline. Muslims have faith, and I hope that they will pray and search the scriptures to encounter the one true living God, Allah or Elohim, the Father of Jesus Christ, and not Allah, Muhammad's created God. The only way to a true relationship with the one and only living God is through his Son, Jesus Christ, who together with the Holy Spirit are one. Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I hope and pray you're well. Thanks for watching, and God bless.